Welcome to the Gals Guide podcast. Join us on an adventure to get to know famous and infamous women from around the world. Each of our presenters has a pick. Is she ancient history? Is she breaking news? Is she safe for work? Well, that's up to each presenter. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It is a new month at the Gals Guide podcast, and we are continuing our around the world adventures. So this month we are learning about Canadian women. And if everything shakes out just right, you're going to be listening to this episode on July 1st, which is Canada Day, everybody! Woo! So let me introduce you to my traveling companions to the Great White North. First up, she is the head librarian of Gals Guide and the president of Gals Guide. It is Bonnie Just Fillenworth, everybody.
Oh, no.
So, Bonnie, introduce yourself with the great howl to the good people. Yes!
I'm Bonnie. I'm a visual artist. I do paintings of women throughout history.
Sweet! Any fun adventures during the summerness? Mostly new house stuff?
Yeah. It's the never ending of... In the last year, I finished my master's.
Yes.
Planned and had a wedding.
Yeah, you did.
The next 2 months after the wedding spent either being sick or my husband being sick.
Right.
And then holidays, and then a new house.
Right.
Moving into the new house. Moving the garden to the new house. Fixing
Moving
up
the
the
puppies
old house
to the new house.
rent.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah.
My mom wanted to rent that house, so we're moving my mom into that house.
It's just really too much.
It's
too much.
You need a
exhausting.
vacation from your life.
Ridiculous.
I like it. But then
and
somebody
moved
would have
out of
to
my
plan the
studio.
vacation. Oh, yes, and you moved your studio.
Yes.
My
The
goodness
studio's
gracious.
close to the new house. So.
Yes. All right. I know. You've got a lot, but you're
A
still
lot of
awesome.
stuff
So,
going
yes,
on.
we're just lucky to have you. Sweet. Well, next up, it is our fab book director, Katie Young, everybody. Yay!
Aww.
Katie, what would you like the people to know about you?
I prefer to remain mysterious.
I think that's fair.
However, if you've listened to a few of these, you might know a couple of things.
I think people have great stalker material.
However, I'm having a wonderful summer, and part of that is getting to spend more time here in the Gals Guide library while I'm off work for the summer. I was able to start our kids' story hour, which has been really cool. I'm laying out all of our books about women from history that are at that younger reading level.
Yep.
And coloring pages and kind of highlighting a different woman each week that I pull extra books for. So very cool.
Yeah,
we still have a couple more Thursdays coming up in July where if you want to bring your kids to story hour, come see me.
Exactly. Nice. Yes. I love it. It's
1:30. Wait, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yes, there you go. 1 o'clock. At the 1 o'clock hour.
You're here the whole
hour-ness.
afternoon.
I
Just come
am. I
whenever.
have them out. I have a
There
few
you
snacks
go.
and drinks. It's a good time.
Nice,
Exactly.
nice.
And I love you being here in the library because it's a nice, peaceful, welcoming space where you can just kind of relax for a bit.
What's the book count?
Of how many books?
How many books that Katie has read this year?
Oh, yeah. What is your book count? I was thinking,
yeah,
how
we
many books have the
should.
kids during Kids Story Hour? Yeah, you're
it
past
over
100,
100?
right?
I'm up to 165.
Holy
Nice.
crap balls.
Nice.
That's amazing.
I mean,
Sweet.
they're fun books, but it is just fiction and enjoyment reading.
It's more books than
all
I've
good.
read in the
It's
last
all
couple
good.
of years.
I finished.
Yeah.
One book.
One whole book? Good job.
Finished it last night.
Yes.
Is
And
it Finding Mañana for book club?
No. It was Cersei, which was a previous book
It
club.
was, yes, yeah.
And the whole
Right.
time reading, I'm like, man, I should have been there for book club. The whole time.
Because you're like, I'm going to need to discuss
I mean, it was an
this.
audiobook.
Right.
So I still didn't sit down and read.
It
I
does-
was
it
doing
still
stuff,
counts.
but
It still
yeah.
counts.
Audiobooks
It
are
This
books.
is the first book I have read, I think, since doing Starbase, reading Rosalind Franklin and Kate Mulgrew books.
Oh
So
my
I think
goodness, yeah.
Besides and that I have read.
Right, yes.
in,
You
like,
have
2
chosen to
years.
read.
You're going to be
yes.
entering your reading era soon.
Yes.
Now that
Better be.
after everything calms down and you have some personal freedom and time.
And,
Yes.
and let's face it, it has to calm down. You cannot keep going at this
Yeah,
pace.
I know, right?
Don't jinx it.
Knock on bamboo. Yes, exactly. Yes. Vacation and reading time is coming. I like the
Yes.
reading era.
I like
yes,
that.
exactly. I personally am in my Ryan era. Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling. That is where I'm currently at right now.
Very
But
nice.
A nice Canadian tie in there a
It
little bit.
really
too, so-
Exactly. All right. Well, next, returning to the show is our director of community outreach. It's Barb Conlon, everyone.
Hello.
Yay! So, Barb, introduce yourself to the good people.
So I'm Barb Conlon, as she said, and Director of Community Outreach. Upcoming, we have some things going on to bring people in. Katie mentioned some stuff that we've got going on. We're kind of in looking forward. We'll have an art show coming up.
Yes.
We've got some representation in conjunction.
Yes,
That's
that'll
in the
gonna
month
be
of
fun.
July.
Yes,
We have some
sci-fi
book
fantasy.
signings, all that kind of good stuff.
Mhm.
Our fearless leader Rewo is going to be doing some traveling, so I'm going to get to come in.
Yes, you
and
get to be
spend
in the
some
library.
time
Yes,
in the library. So I'm looking
See?
forward to that as well.
It's
So,
quite
yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
Exactly.
always something fun going on. Book club, film club, all that kind of good stuff.
Yay! I love it. I love it. Well, as for me, I'm Riru. I'm the executive director of Gals Guide, and yes, absolutely, I am in my my Ryan era because I just adore him. Anyway, any Ryans. I was in my Chris era, by the way, which was Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans, Chris Pine. Basically, that's how we celebrate Christmas. Is
Nice.
through Chris's. But right now, it is the Ryan era. So this is probably going to be the first episode where I'm not totally drinking the imposter syndrome cocktail. Thinking I don't know that much about the place we're traveling to, and I have no idea of what I'm talking about, if I'm pronouncing it right and all that stuff, because when it comes to Canadians, I have Canadian ancestry, and I've actually been to Canada, unlike some of these
Excellent.
other places we have talked about.
Right.
I have had only wishful drinking about being in these places. So I grew up watching Canadian comedians, and hence the Ryan Reynolds-ness. So I'm very excited that my childhood was kind of fit for purpose, if you will, for this whole wonderful month of celebration. And that means I get to then hand it over to... Oh, wait, no, I have Proverbs. Before I hand it over to I totally forgot. I have Canadian Proverbs, everybody.
Nice.
Now... we've had some very deep, insightful proverbs that we have done through different places, but these ones are written by Arlo Matlow, and you'll see how Canadian these proverbs really are, which are, at first you don't succeed, try it again in French.
Like it.
The best things in life are free, like healthcare.
Oh.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink Molson Canadian.
Wah, wah, wah.
Exactly. You can't make a hockey team without breaking a few legs. And then the last one, if you don't have anything nice to say sorry. So those, I had to give a handful there of Canadian proverbs that may not actually be Canadian proverbs, but you all get my meaning, sort of thing. So yes.
It is all
So
good.
so sorry. Are you ready to go first, Bonnie?
Damn.
Who do you have for us?
I have a lady that I've been wanting to know more about for
Yay.
a while now.
I do love when
I
they already tie
have-
into your research.
Lucy Maud Montgomery. I feel
Yay!
it's very
The
appropriate
author.
for a library podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Perfect.
she's most famous for doing the Anne of Green Gables books,
Mhm.
which has been developed into many movies, TV movies, series.
Even a graphic novel. We have a graphic novel of
there's
Anne of
several.
Green Gables. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
She's born November 30th in 1874 in Prince Edward Island.
Sweet.
Oh, very
And
nice.
she was the only child. And both of her parents came from, like, money.
Okay.
I think they were 33 and they were 33. Dad was 33 and mom was 21
Gotcha.
when they got married, and she was born 9-ish months later.
Oh, don't do that marriage math too closely.
Yeah. So
right?
Ish.
Yeah, exactly. They were very happy.
But her mother died when she was only 21 months old of consumption.
Oh, no, not the
They called it-
consumption. Tuberculosis?
They called it something weird. They called it like horseback consumption or carriage ride consumption. It was something.
Okay.
It was
Something where I feel like I need a hanky and a fan, basically, at the same time.
It was a very ladylike kind of consumption.
Right, exactly.
So, her and her dad moved in with her mom's parents.
Okay.
When her mom got sick, and dad ended up leaving her there and to go find work out in Saskatchewan.
Oh, yes.
So she's
Saskatchewan.
basically raised by her grandparents, and she has a childhood that's very much like Anne of Green Gables. Like when I was I was like, that's like what Anne would do.
Story.
Like she would have little like clubs with her friends where they would sit around and write stories and read them to each other, and she had imaginary friends.
Like you do.
And it was just, I was like, oh, that's Anne.
Too cute.
You write what you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And her grandparents were like 50. Like they weren't
Right.
old.
Right.
Her mother, she went to go live with her dad when she turned 15 because her whole life she was like, Dad's gonna come back for me. I'm gonna go live with Dad, whatever. Dad remarried, and her stepmother was only 12 years older than her.
Oh, yeah, that has to be weird.
So,
right.
if he was 33 when he got married.
Yeah.
So he's...
This is a lot of math.
46.
Okay, good job. Yes.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I don't know. So, and then she's 15, and then... So
she's in her 30s?
27
okay.
is how old
Yeah.
the new wife is?
Right. Yes. Well, you know, at least it's not the same age. I went to high school with my mom, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And, you know, they didn't get along real great.
Right.
And she ended up having a male school teacher that was a bit forward with her in school. And was like, do you ever think we might be more than friends?
Oh.
Just, no.
No, Professor. No.
Nor should you think that we should be more than friends.
But
Weirdo.
she ended up having a few poems published in the local paper.
Awesome.
And she really wanted to go to college and become like a teacher. It was kind of like the only route she could see back then. I mean, she wanted to do her writing, but her excuse was, I'm going to go to teacher's college to become a teacher.
Yeah, there you go.
Grandpa was not having it. Grandpa it sounds like an asshole. Grandpa does not value the women in his life.
Oh, Grandpa.
Grandpa does not think that women should be educated, like, at all.
Oh.
So, especially to go to a teacher's college, he thought that spending money on a woman to go become a teacher who's just going to have to step down when she gets married and have kids is like a waste of money.
Right.
So Grandma fitted the bill.
Good job, Grandma.
And had enough to pay for 1 year of school.
Gotcha.
So, and this was like, it was Prince Wales College, but it sounded like it was just like teacher's college.
Okay.
Not like full on university or something.
Specialty. I mean, Ball State was a teacher's college when it first started. So, yeah, it's like we're just educating
like
for
you would just get your
teaching certificate.
Yeah. So she crammed all the classes into 1 year to try and get it done in 1 year. And after she got her certificate, Grandpa would not let her use the wagon to go to interviews.
Oh, Grandpa.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Grandpa.
So Grandma drove her.
Yay, Grandma!
Well, is it still drove if it's a horse and wagon?
I'm going to go with yes. There's wheels. There's a direction.
Yeah. And it ended up that a third cousin of hers was leaving his teaching job.
Oh.
And was able to arrange for her to take his old job. And he also proposed to her.
What is it with creepy teachers?
Right, yeah, this is...
I mean...
Yeah.
Ew. Okay.
like,
But thanks for the job, though.
Yeah, she ended up agreeing,
Oh.
but that didn't end up working out.
Gotcha.
Oh.
The polite, yeah, sure, let's see how it goes.
Mm.
Where's the job?
What a great idea.
And then Grandpa ended up dying of a heart attack.
I mean, yay.
Well, he
and
brought the stress on
I
himself.
know, right?
You know,
Exactly. If you just would have calmed down and let a woman have an education.
yeah, she could have become a doctor and saved your butt.
Right, but no.
So Lucy moved home to help with Grandma and live in the house. There's some kind of arrangement that Lucy's uncle would get the property
Okay.
if both the her grandparents
Yeah.
died. So, or that they couldn't maintain it anymore. So she
probably had to be the oldest living male descendant, that sort of thing.
So to help Grandma keep the house.
Yes.
Lucy moved in with her to help keep everything in order.
Okay.
And their house also happened to have the post office in it.
Oh! Well, there's her second job right there.
Yeah, she would apparently, when all the magazines would come in, she'd read people's magazines.
Yes!
I would
Or they would
totally
pick
do
them
that.
up.
I would totally do that.
Probably the reason why they tape them shut now.
Right.
But yes.
Totally.
But she started writing Anne of Green Gables. And it's first published in 1908.
Gotcha.
And the second printing was in 20 days. From the first.
Oh,
It
wow.
was an instant hit.
Oh, goodness. They ran out of copies.
And the second book was published within a year.
Mhm.
And Grandma did end up dying. Uncle got the house.
Gotcha.
In 1911.
And the post office, apparently.
Yeah.
Also
I don't
the
know
post
what
office,
the
yeah.
rules are with the post office. 1911, she married Ewan McDonald.
Okay.
So close to Ewan McGregor.
It
so
is.
Close.
It is.
He's a
I'm going to
minister.
picture them as well, never mind. I was going to picture them as the same, but now I'm not. No.
Well, I personally crack up with all the people of pictures of Ewan McGregor that look like Jesus that are in Grandma's house.
Look at this beautiful picture of Jesus you have on the fireplace. That's Ewan McGregor,
Right.
Grandma.
Right.
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Still amazing, though.
But he was a minister, and apparently, he moved to town, and apparently all the ladies were like,
Oh.
Mhm.
there's
Fawning.
this dude with an accent.
Oh.
It's the accent. It is totally the accent.
Again, now I'm only picturing Ewan McGregor's
Right.
accent.
She was 36 at the time.
Yeah.
When they got married, and they honeymooned in Britain for 10 weeks.
Oh. Damn.
Big one.
That's nice. I want to do that.
Yeah. Sign me up.
They ended up having 3 sons. The second one died pretty much like at birth or right after. But it
Gotcha.
was Chester, Hugh, and I think it was Ewan, but then I think they called him by his middle name.
Okay.
Start with an S. It's like Stanley or something.
Stewart or something.
I think it is Stewart.
Stewart.
Sounds
Especially if they went to
right.
England.
Scottish-y,
Stewart is very much a name. The Scottish Highlands.
But she published her third Anne of Green Gables book, and she ended up having some lawsuits with her publisher regarding like the rights and the royalties.
They weren't paying her?
It sounded like they kind of screwed her over when
Yeah.
she first agreed to have it published.
Mhm.
Because while she's working at the post office, she's also just mailing out her book to everybody.
Oh, she's got all the addresses.
Yeah. So she's
You should read my book.
moving.
You should read my book.
Well, to all the like publishers to try and get it
Oh,
published.
okay,
She's
yeah.
like mailing it out.
Sweet.
But I guess they were kind of screwing her over with that they would have all the rights to the books, and they ended up publishing I don't know if it was like short stories or snippets. It was some kind of book that she did not agree to, and they published it. And she also didn't get any of the royalties from that.
Right.
And apparently they were fudging the numbers on the royalties too, saying that they didn't sell as many books and they
As
actually
they
sold
did.
more, and they were keeping all the money from it.
See, now when a woman has an education,
Mhm.
she can find out how numbers work. Although we learned earlier in this podcast episode, I don't know how numbers work. Yeah.
And then
Publishers.
they also ran into some legal issues with, there was a car accident, and I was
Oh,
unsure if both her and her husband were in the car or if it was just him.
gotcha.
But the people in the other car were trying to sue the husband because the stress
Oh,
from the car accident
Mm.
was giving the wife in the other car. I don't even know if she was in the car or if she's just so stressed for her husband who was in the car.
right.
It was giving her diabetes.
Oh,
So
Is
stressed.
that how that
Induced
works?
diabetes.
not
Yes.
the way it
I-
works.
Yeah, I was unaware.
I'm not a doctor.
But
A
it-
real
I just
doctor.
play one on
I
a podcast.
I just play one on a podcast.
We call bullshit on that
And
one.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Is there a bullshit button we can hit?
But they ended up, the other people ended up winning and were trying
What?
to take Ewan's money,
Ah.
but they had always kept their finances separate, and he's like
Nice.
a minister and doesn't really have any money.
Yeah.
So they didn't really end up getting any.
Sweet.
Yeah.
My goodness. But they tried, though.
Yeah.
Bastards.
But he started to have some mental illness issues. They were calling it religious melancholy.
oh. He
is
was,
what they were
he was
calling
sad
it.
about church? I've had this, too.
Apparently it's a thing, and they were saying
Aw.
it sounded like it was like manic depressive
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, that's a weird.
That's a new
I
one.
was like, this has
Yeah.
only happened to ministers.
Right?
Like, I don't know why.
Okay.
It was
I've
a
heard
weird
of
name.
compassion fatigue.
Yes.
I've heard of just
Right?
like
Yes, definitely.
Where you're
That's kind of what I
helping
was thinking.
people, so much of giving of yourself, and then you're not
Yes.
taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
You can get the diabetes from that.
You heard it here first.
I think you give other people diabetes.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Can someone
yeah.
pass the Kit Kats?
Yes.
No.
They're right behind the stickers.
They ended up moving to Toronto,
Okay, sweet.
and I need to look it up. Apparently, she ended up also writing a like women's history book of
Oh.
little snippets from women throughout history. So I
Oh,
need to look
Love
up
it. Love it.
what that is.
Neat.
And see if we can get that.
Yeah.
She wrote more Anne of Green Gables books.
Yeah, because they were selling.
And she's trying to deal with.
Did she get a new publisher?
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
She better have.
Okay.
She was dealing with trying to help her husband. They were trying to like hide his illness.
Sure.
Like
It was
I guess,
probably
like, the town would
stigmatizing.
talk about him, and
Yeah,
he's like he's
yeah.
the minister.
Right.
Apparently, he ended up. They sent him out of town to go to a mental institution to
Mhm.
try and get help, and she was like, "Oh, he's on a missionary or something."
Right. It's what you
And
did.
When he
Yeah.
You
You did.
came back, and then like when he went and people found out that that's where he was, no one came to visit him at all.
Yeah. You think it's a
Yeah.
contagion. It's not, but
And people
yeah.
started not
And
coming
there's
to
a
church.
fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fear.
Of what you don't know. Yeah.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And then, of course, he's taking who knows what kind of medications
Right.
back in the day,
Yep.
but nothing really seemed to help him.
Could have been cocaine.
That was the first thing.
I
that came to
mean,
mind.
that was the go-to for everything,
Right,
so why not just
right.
put some cocaine on it?
Yeah.
And then,
Sprinkle that shit on everything.
It's like hot sauce.
some cocaine with your radium water.
Exactly.
She started taking sedatives just to sleep at night, and
Mhm.
for like both of them, whatever meds they were like building up in their system, like they
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
flush out.
Right, right.
So just taking more just made it like worse.
Oof.
And gosh, I want to say he died before her, but I don't remember when he died.
Gotcha. But they were both kind of taking the same thing, so...
Yeah, she was even taking some of his meds for some reason. I
Oh.
don't know.
Yeah,
But she sent
That's
off.
what you do in marriage.
I know.
Just joking,
Sure.
everybody.
Sure,
Don't,
sure.
don't take your
Sure,
significant
sure.
other's meds.
She ended up sending another book out to be published, and the next day, April 24th, 1947, She was found dead at 67.
Oh.
And they found out later that there was a note in the room that it points to it may have been a suicide.
Gotcha.
Or
Or she could have been feeling it coming on. Like,
maybe.
I'm
It
not
sounded
doing
like
so good.
her writing
Yeah.
later in life got very dark.
Yeah. Sylvia
Which
Plath-ish.
is understandable.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But apparently she had habits where she would, when she go to write on stuff, she'd find whatever scrap piece of paper, write stuff down, and then number the paper, and then she would collect it all and write it as one cohesive thing later.
Yeah.
So they're not really quite sure if it's just, writing teenage angsty poetry in this little note that
if
she
it's
left.
for a character, if it's some kind of last words,
but it may have been a suicide.
Gotcha.
The last Anne of Green Gables book was not published until 2009.
Oh,
so
wow.
I don't know if that was the one that she sent off or she had another one.
Or they found one in an attic somewhere, because that's happened. Yeah.
Because they've been publishing her. She journaled her whole life, so they've been publishing her journals. She ended up, I think this is just for the original Anne of Green Gables book, over 50 million copies were sold, which is outselling Hemingway and T.S. Eliot and Virginia Woolf.
Nice.
And I feel like she's not as well known.
Right.
She's definitely not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I'm more familiar with the Anne of Green Gables, but it's like if I had a trivia question, who's the author, I probably would struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. And she sometimes goes by L. Maud Montgomery, right? Isn't there an L and then dot sometimes?
Sometimes it's like L.M. Montgomery.
Oh, L. Yeah.
Lucy Maud Montgomery. But I think,
the initials will kind of.
Yeah. And for some reason, Anne of Green Gables is a really big hit in Japan.
Oh, I can.
Some, it's been translated in many, many languages. I want to see if it's. I don't know if it's a regular book or if it's like a manga.
Oh, I'm sure
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But it's such a big hit in Japan.
Makes sense.
That around a quarter of the tourists that come to Prince Edward Island for the whole Montgomery thing are Japanese.
That's
tourists,
cool.
Which is so freaking adorable.
I mean, you can almost see, especially if you think of Miyazaki films, of that, that young girl that's coming of age that's learning about life and nature. You can kind of see that kind of cross-pollination with Anne of Green Gables. And it's like,
She's got so much nature. But yeah, if you have not read or seen any of the Anne of Green Gables, it's a older brother and sister that are aging, so they decide they're going to adopt they're intending to adopt a son to help out with the farm, and they end up getting Anne instead. So it's kind of a mistake, and they were like, they're going to intend to send her back, but then they get attached to her. And,
yeah, she's great.
And Anne is almost like a Canadian Pippi Longstocking.
Yes.
She's an orphan. She's got red hair that she hates. They think that she's been told, or is interpreted that her red hair makes her fiery and just too rambunctious and whatever.
That's the cocaine.
But she wants to write, and she's very whimsical and names the lakes around her house and has imaginary friends, but she's also a super nerd.
See?
She's reading Jane Eyre and all these books. Whenever she can find a book, she's reading it. And she's wanting to be top in the class at school. She's got rivalry with another boy in school.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's been many different movies and TV series, and Anne with an E is, I think, the most recent one on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Is that your favorite? I was going to ask you what you have.
That's the only one that I have seen.
Gotcha.
But, as soon as I, saw this series, I've been wanting to read the books.
Yeah.
But I'm I wish I had known as a kid, because I would have loved that so much better than the stupid boxcar children.
Katie loves the boxcar children.
Yeah.
That's your jam.
Yeah, I do.
I was I was a kid. I wanted to read all the stuff, but all the stuff in elementary school, I was like, this is crap.
Right.
Like, I would try to read stuff and I was like, no.
It's a lot of childhood trauma within the novelization of many of the books, yes.
But then I hit like middle school and I was reading like the young adult stuff and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I was just plowing through all the stuff.
Hunger Games, bring it on.
I was traumatized. There was some kind of book. We had something where we had to read so many like books and we had to take little quizzes on the
Okay, so
computer.
not Book It
to,
by
like,
Pizza Hut. Okay.
we had that in
All right,
elementary school.
Okay.
But we had to like take some kind of quiz on the computer. It was like 10 multiple choice questions to like prove that we read the book
Sure.
or something. I remember reading some kind of book as a kid about 2 kids, and one was a kid that was in Africa somewhere with a CB radio, and the other one was a kid that got selected to go out to space for like a kid astronaut program, and they would talk on the radio.
Yeah.
And then they would they met when they came down, and like the back of the book was all, you know,
Ooh.
the back of the book was all,
Right.
will they ever become friends? And I'm like, you ruined the freaking book. Like, so I do not read the back of the books
Fair.
anymore, ever. Like, I
There you
don't
go.
want to watch the trailers for most movies anymore.
Right?
Like, I'll watch them for stuff that I'm like, it's Marvel.
Yes. Exactly. I did once get into a fight with a guy who said the Titanic trailer gave away too much.
Really?
Oh,
It was a
Wow.
very hard conversation that I had in a
Ooh.
video store going, they're showing the boat is sinking. And I'm like, honey,
oh.
if you didn't know that the Titanic boat went down, we have different problems than this
Yes.
movie trailer. He was not having it. He thought that trailer would give away too
Wow.
much.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. At least, the historical ones, you'd be like, yeah, okay.
I watched Anne of Green Gables in the 90s. I don't know what version or what that
okay.
was called, but
Yeah.
it was like a TV. I'm pretty sure it was a TV. It could have been movies. I
Right,
don't remember.
yeah.
But
Even
I
a
was,
made-for-TV
I was
movie.
Super,
Yeah.
yeah, I
There
was
was
super
several.
into it. I've never read the books
Thing.
though.
Okay, the dude who plays the dad in Anne with the E, I think also played. It wasn't the dad. It must have been some other character
Like the kid?
in
yeah.
one of the movies
That's
from like
very
the 80s
cool.
or 90s.
Yeah, very
Aw,
cool.
So it kind of kept it, I'm back with the
Cute.
Anne of Green Gables, but in a different character role. That's cute. I
And
dig
apparently,
it.
one of the actresses that played her, like really, like the first one was like a silent movie
Yeah.
that
Makes
came
sense.
out that publisher published, like, and she got no money for it.
Right.
The second one, I think it was the next one that came out. The actress changed her name
Oh, no.
to to Anne,
Oh.
Anne Shirley,
Oh, wow.
as a publicity thing.
It's really me, everybody. And everyone
Weird.
believed it.
Weird.
It happens. Sweet. I dig it. I like that we finally have covered Maud Montgomery.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Do anybody have any other questions? Stuff?
Do we know how many books there were in total?
I'm
Like
not sure
more
how
than
many.
20
There's like
or
a bunch
something?
of them.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
I don't know about. I mean, there's like at least 5.
Okay. Because I sometimes get it
Let's see
confused
here.
with, and then it just totally, Little Women. Because there's a lot of different Little Women stories and around the same time-ish
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Works. Okay. There's Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah.
Anne of Avonlea.
Yep.
Anne of the Island. Anne of the Windy Poplars. Anne's House of Dreams. Anne of Ingleside.
Oh, yeah.
Ingleside? And Rainbow Valley. Rilla of Ingleside. And the Blythes are quoted. And that's the one that's from 2009.
Okay. That's
So that
the
was 9.
found
So
one.
yeah, there's 9 of those.
Oh.
And then it looks like there's also like a book of stories.
Gotcha.
And then she's got a trilogy of another character called Emily. And then there's 2 for the Pat of Silver Bush.
Yes. That couldn't be misconstrued as anything else.
Not
And
at
there's
all.
2 of the Story Girl.
Okay.
And then there's several standalone ones.
Gotcha. There you go.
And I'm pretty sure she
It's a
has
hefty
several that are like
collection.
Yep.
Yeah.
short story collections.
So over 20 books in total, but 9-ish, 10-ish.
In the
None of
Anne
the big
series,
ones.
yeah. Gotcha.
Cool.
Yay. Too cute.
So
I
you
know
have
we have a couple in a couple of different variations in the library, so.
So
And
you
we
have
have
a
some
little
biographies,
girl who
too.
likes to read.
right? Encourage it.
Yes, that would be great because I would have loved Anne as a kid.
Yes. I like it. We'll keep her story alive for people to find it and all that kind of good stuff. Should I wrap us up?
Yeah.
Look at that. First day of Canada Month, Canada Day and all. I love it. Dun, dun, dun. Well, that wraps it up for us this week. Join us next week as another Canadian gal is picked to share as the Gals Guide podcast continues. Thanks for listening. Want to learn about more women of history? Gals Guide opened a unique women's history lending library. Come visit and explore our collection. Learn more at galsguide.org. Thanks for listening.